The H2K will ban out first versus EDG. We just saw a pretty stellar game as they subbed in Pawn versus AHQ. It was a very slow game as we expected in the beginning, and then just took off for EDG once they got to those objectives with their composition. Tahm Kench and Gnar off the table, so those playmakers will not be seen here.
Yeah, the Tahm Kench ban, really good to get rid of that from Mako. It actually enables clear love a lot, and the synergy between EDG whenever Tahm Kench is present is actually very noteworthy.
Ooh, and the Alistar ban as well. 2 supports targeted at Mako, taking away the playmaking ability from that guy. He still played the Nami, though.
Yeah,
still played it well.
Nami.
But the thing is that when he's on a playmaker and a melee support like one of these two, he absolutely decimates the game rather early on. About 10, 15 minutes, starts roaming.
We spoke about this in the break. My advice to EDG would be to play the Alistar, actually get Mako being a playmaker one more time, because when he is the one calling the shots going forward, EDG looks like an entirely different beast.
See what they can push him down to this time. H2K is going to be banning out that Rise. Definitely don't want Pawn on it either.
Yeah, exactly. Pawn is the Rise player of EDG. He plays it so much, and Ryu, we know he plays it. We saw him play some of the best Rise games that we've ever seen, and EDG, though, still don't want to risk that going over to them.
A little sad. I do miss the Realm Warp plays, but gone for another game. Final ban from EDG. What do they feel is priority? Syndra is still there to be taken out, and it's going to be a Cannon. Facing that Syndra up.
But you still have to be really hesitant as H2K to pick Syndra because Vladimir was just played by Pawn.
And played well. So this is going to be an interesting decision here from H2K. Note that the Rumble is still present.
Yeah.
There's going to be options available in that top lane. We'll see if Mouse actually has a preference to the Poppy, which he has been playing a lot, or if he goes to the Rumble that has worked for EDG earlier today.
You gotta remember, Pawn's the guy who knows that one pick kind of counter as Morgana to the Faker. Will he pull out this game? Maybe he felt fine playing against that Syndra because he does have something. Even though Vladimir, as we said, works. But maybe it is something different.
He does play Fizz.
Yeah. Get him back on.
Fizz is actually quite a good champion against Syndra.
Yep. You can do a lot of denial.
You get shoved in early and lose all of your pressure, but eventually you take over, and that's kind of how Vladimir plays against it right now, except has great team fighting. You can see
Sin be locked in. Little flavor hover here for Clear Love. They're letting the time run out.
It might be the Lee Sin for Clear Love, though.
Oh, that's manly.
And it is going to be the Lee Sin for
Clear Love. What a brute. He's going hard on the Lee Sin. Nami gets picked up as well. Mako feels like he wants that support before it is taken if by Vander. He's going to go for another Nami game. We'll see how this plays out.
It is a tiebreaker game. They have qualified for the quarterfinals. It's only seeding that they're getting, but this is still a really aggressive decision from Clear Love, going towards this with Rek'Sai available, a champion that he has excelled on. He still has the option of the Elise. There are a million champions available to Clear Love, but he wants the early aggression of Lee.
I also feel like because the Lee Sin is picked, Stock and Poppy rises even more for H2K. Rumble is on the table, yes, but Poppy, to stop the Lee Sin from getting in and kicking back crucial targets like the Syndra or even getting on them, and denying it from Mouse at the same time, with Gnar also taken away.
Karma banned out quite a bit along with Caitlyn, but they may be picked up here. Both that'll be support and AD carry. H2K talks it out. They waste down to that 2-second mark, and that's great because you only give 1 minute now to the opposing team to think and pick.
And this combination in the bottom lane for Forgiven and Vander, it's actually their most played of the tournament so far, with about 4 or 5 now on Caitlyn, and 3 and 4 for Vander.
Don't forget, of course, the plethora of champions that Pawn can play. Quick to pick things up, a master of most of them. He's not the kind of player that is just good at anything.
And then
He's great at it all.
He locks in Twisted Fate, right?
Well, kind of, but it is global pressure here.
Aurelion Soul.
Aurelion Soul for Pawn against the Syndra. It is quite a good matchup because you build so much HP as Aurelion Soul that Syndra actually almost never realistically, past 20 minutes, has a way to burst you out. She's going to need a lot of assistance to do so.
You can go Spectre's Cal, you can go Catalyst and then Spectre's Cal. It doesn't really matter. Pawn has build paths to deal with the 1v1, so you look towards the 2v2, something yet to actually be locked in by H2K. If they want to kill that Aurelion Soul, they will need a little bit more crowd control than they currently have. I'd say Elise.
It's true. Their jungler has fallen quite a bit down in the pick order.
Olaf wouldn't
be able to stop that Aurelion Soul in his tracks.
Yeah. No,
It'll be
wouldn't-
quite good into Jhin and Aurelion.
It wouldn't be awful either. You run straight at them. You can't be peeled away. It's kind of good against Lee Sin, and you have a Karma on your team.
This is basically what EDG just did. Get a guy that can go to the back line. Clearlove was on that Olaf. Now it's going to go over to Jankos for this game. And we have Vander pulling out the Rumble for Odomne.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, I was waiting for this to happen. They red side pick for EDG. Mouse wants a comfort champion so that he can deal with the matchup, perhaps get more done. Knowing there's a Rumble gives the option of Aurelia.
I still feel like he goes with the Poppy, though, because Mouse, he has been a weak point for this squad, and the Poppy pattern just suits him way better in the late game because Aurelia requires you to actually get a small edge over your opponent, whether it's a kill or anything along those lines.
You give him a carry champion or something comfortable, he has been quite good on them. It's more of a confidence thing for Mouse above all else. The Poppy's a safe bet. He will always still be relevant, but if you get the Aurelia going, he can smash everyone.
To be back to the boy who broke time. Echo pick for the top lane. Haven't seen that since week 1, really. What will they decide? It is going to be a lock-in of Echo over for Mouse. The teams have been formulated. What are we feeling for that side of EDG?
Yeah, EDG have gone a little bit scattered with their team composition. You'd call it almost pick, but it's very hard to say that. They've just got a Jhin to help with all of the frontline damage, and that's exactly what it is. It's more about just putting frontline damage down and making sure Def stays alive at the back to keep everything going. Pawn just wants to survive as well. Honestly, what EDG have put together is prolonged, consistent damage in a fight. They don't want to just burst and be done. They want to meet you and just keep you there.
It's a little bit harder for them to engage fights, though, especially compared to H2K, who now have a Karma on their side, and that's going to allow them to possibly speed away. But H2K as well have a lot of in-fight damage, and it's mostly sieging, though. That's what I think H2K would go for here is siege composition-wise, lay down Caitlyn traps, try to pick somebody underneath the turret with the Syndra, and group up as 4 and possibly have your Rumble there as well.
I think a lot of this comes down to who gets ahead early, because a Caitlyn Syndra that's ahead is disgustingly powerful at sieging objectives, whereas if EDG do, their individual champions can do enough work themselves to get across the line.
Especially playing against somebody like Forgiven who wants to be up in your face with that Caitlyn. If he feels like he has a lead, he will push that and just make you feel terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a lane-focused player. They always have good CS values. It's a scary thing for EDG here.
Very true. We're about to head into game. Hashtag H2K win. Hashtag EDG win. As they try to make their way to the quarterfinals as first seed. As we said before, both are already going. But who's going to be able to sit at the top of the group on the way there? H2K versus EDG about to be on the Rift. And we're about to get this tiebreaker underway.
Big moment for both of these teams as they come out of spawn.
The story of proving themselves for EDG, as well as a bit of H2K and Forgiven is there.
And H2K, they made quarters. They did what they weren't able to do last year when they showed up at Worlds. And now they're kind of the pride of Europe right now, with G2 falling down and not making it out, with Splice being 0-3 right now and having to win every single game tomorrow to even have a chance of advancing.
Big moment.
And H2K, they did lock it in already, but being number 1 still is a big statement, especially when people right now are kind of questioning the strength of Europe, seeing that their number 1 team was just completely destroyed.
Let's go back to fundamentals. They're competitive players. They want to win.
Yeah.
You don't just put them on the Rift.
Especially Forgiven.
Not try, exactly. They'll give it everything.
It's also been a very long day for these players, as mostly in the second half was their games as well. We just saw EDG, H2K on that break, so they're coming up fresh here. EDG, the momentum of last win. We'll see how that collides as this one begins in the laning phase.
Speaking of laning phase, we do have to highlight how the bottom 2v2 will go naturally. Some stars of the team are going to be down there, but Karma Caitlyn, super oppressive, pushes really hard, controls minions incredibly well. If they can get EDG under the turret, basically they just suffer, they run Mako out of mana, and then they win the lane from there. So it's potentially Clearlove's presence, Pawn's presence even on the Aurelion Soul after he does this in lane at level 1.
Yep, level 1 Aurelion Soul gets complete control of the wave. All you want to do is shove it in, and now go to the enemy Raptors and pick those up.
Ryu probably should not have fought him at level 1 for a minute.
Pretty much pick up 1. Oh, he messed it up.
He'll still get him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
take him a little
Yeah,
bit
you usually
longer
just
here.
get one.
Ryu's lane resetting since he cleared that out, so not too much trouble losing minions. We're 4 to 5, so both missed a few on that first wave in the aggression. And once again, right back to it. Ryu just on the outside of that stun.
So one of the reasons people go towards those Raptors to steal just the one is it gives you the immediate level 2. However, because it reset, you had to go back a second time to get it. Ryu was already level 2 at the exact same time. So no big advantage actually gained this time around for the Aurelion Soul by moving there.
Yeah, it's really cheeky. You can pull it, get it. Some people will even start it.
I also think
140.
Ryu started W to try and steal them. We saw him throw a minion over at him to try and take it away, Which is why he's absolutely losing the lane super hard at level 1 from what we saw.
Nice stun.
Oh, beautiful pushback. Also took a little bit of minion
Ghost.
damage there. Ghost from both. Yanko's coming in. Could it be a flash? Yes. Pawn summoners down. Ryu wasted Ghost.
Yep. Ghost as well from Yankos. So they trade 2 for 2
Yeah,
in
good
summoner
call.
spells, but lower cooldowns on the 2 ghosts from H2K.
Here's the initial point of concern that we highlighted. Stuck under the turret means they're going to be losing a lot of health.
And Clearlove actually went for a clear that puts him on the top side. They saw him. Yankos has this blue. If he wants it, I guess he gets spotted out.
They don't know where Clear Love is.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't show on that ward. Nope. He went for the scuttle. And that is actually in Clearlove's favor now.
Yeah, got himself to safety. That means Odo Omne doesn't have that information. Ryu,
Oh,
little
boy.
window shop and almost gets him killed. And this could be an attack here on the top side. Omne is going to see Clear Love behind him. No kick just yet, just the cripple. And they cannot get any more damage through as he slaloms through his minion wave. Once again, Pawn up really far, and Yankos is able to punish.
Really good move, actually, by Yankos to be in here. It means the Pawn can't reset the wave and recall for free. He has to come in and catch this, which means all of his potions are now about to be burned, and he has to deal with a fresh recall from Ryu on that Syndra. So there's actually a disadvantage where he wants to clear this one and just recall immediately.
Well, it's hard. It's a cannon minion wave, so it actually gives another extra second or 2 to this. Because you can see right there, all of them are cleared out, but that's the last one. There's a lot of effective
And missed
HP
the
in that
cannon
way.
rip.
Yep. Never lucky. Almost got all of them there. Ryu not quite at that break point.
33 to 19 in this bottom lane for Forgiven. He has been absolutely doing damage, perfect damage, and great CSing here on Deft.
And we've talked about how H2K are so lane dominant right now. They are absolutely just running away. So far, it's already a 600 gold advantage for themselves.
Yeah, but they've conceded their advantage in the lane. They're backing away. They're showing some respect. Once again, missing on the map is Clear Love, and Pawn occasionally will go MIA himself, as you can see. So whenever they go missing, they have to respect. This gives an opportunity to catch up a little bit, at least for Deft. But so far, so good for H2K.
Pawn not playing to the side
he
of
doesn't
vision.
have sums.
Yeah, it does not have sums, and he also plays this pink ward side, so H2K knows this is safe. Could they get into range?
Oh, he just did.
That's going to be Ghost, not up yet for Yankos, and
Wow.
he cannot finish the kill as Clear Love is just in the pocket of Pawn.
What a fancy man.
Yeah.
Those feet.
What? Aurelion Soul kind of glides too, so.
I mean, floating feet. They still dodged a lot of things. So very well done from Pawn to ensure that he stays alive there. A lot of axes, unfortunately, missing, but they were duped.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is Yankos' Ghost is up already because he has the mastery of Insight in the Resolve tree. So there's this actually small gap here where his is up, Pawn's is not. And I don't know if he actually took that into consideration, because if it was a little bit later on that gank, would have had a summoner spell advantage for it.
Ooh, mouse backing right on a ward. Give a little free time to Odo Omne. He can position the wave the way he wants. Looks like actually going to reset as it reaches the turret anyways. 6 minutes on the clock. Pawn's gotten quite a bit of attention in mid here. They're really trying to get Ryu going, or at least Yankos as well.
Well, he can't stick around too long because Ryu's gonna hit 6.
And it's gonna be... No, does not get it. Clear Love's there once again. And Unleashed Power cannot get the kill.
It was so close. Ryu also has Flash on top of it, and that would have been huge. That would have been First Blood and the blue going over to Ryu. But one orb short, one auto attack short, and the stun from Pawn. This guy's living by the skin of his teeth.
And just like that, he gets Boots of Swiftness. So he'll come back to lane extremely quickly, and what was potentially the kill, potentially a big snowball for Ryu and an advantage in lane, almost entirely nullified. It would have been 2 winning lanes. Now it's just a farm advantage in top and bottom.
Blue back over to Ryu. Back and right to mid lane. May lose a few CS to Pawn here, giving Pawn the chance to roam, but usually just one to farm in the mid lane and keep things steady. Not too much action across the rest of the map. We haven't seen Mouse getting attacked yet by last H2K's game. Jankos was already in that top lane trying to help Odoamne. So a bit of style switch here as they continue to focus Pawn. We'll see now what EDG has for top lane in store.
Yeah, very quick Aurelion Sol. They're on a pink ward, so they have no idea where EDG are until now.
Boop. Odoamne keeping his wards up, keeping himself safe.
Olaf's about to find him as well.
Oh, doesn't have flash.
He says
Or Ghost.
Ooh. Gets the Ragnarok on. Gonna probably force the flash. It's not even up yet. Oh, it's like that 0.5 seconds flash from coming up. Jankos chooses correctly.
Very big play from H2K's jungler. Spots the Aurelion Sol through the vision, and that's actually laziness from Pawn to go through an area where he didn't know if it was cleared or not. So it actually goes down.
Could have just went right back behind Baron.
With Clear Love. Go with him. It's safe, right?
We've seen a few mid laners make that mistake in this tournament. Takes the unsafe route. Down bottom, though, they've had this shove the whole time.
Now, Olaf does not have his ultimate, does not have his ghost. They're relying on a lot of damage, but ideally, they actually want to have TPs to get in and zone them away from the turret, not to kill them under the turret. That would be far too risky.
Looks like Ryu's even trying to cut off what may happen here behind the turret. Pawn's coming in as
Here
well. Pawn's going to see Ryu. He already used Scatter, so he doesn't have a stun. They're going to turn on Ryu for a flash out. That should win that. And call, curtain call rather, does get him down. It's the Nami ultimate coming through, keeping H2K in position for more damage from Pawn and making Death's ultimate that much easier.
Well, Odoamne does stay on the top side, though, and he clears out that top minion wave. But EDG, we've seen this before. Clear Love immediately goes for the red, starts taking whatever he can from the jungle.
It's a really back and forth game so far.
Oh, Jankos gets the CS.
He gets it going for the red to pull it out.
That's actually really nice from Clear Love to blow that ultimate out of
yep.
Jankos, just by scaring him into using it. That was the threat of the kick. Of course, having a level advantage and the red buff means that Lee Sin would have outright won the 1v1. Mouse was also nearby. This is quite cheeky, though. Mouse time recalled instead of helping. So
TP.
And no TP. I was wondering when Odoamne was going to use his. That objective control throws the equalizer out immediately, but it's not clean enough in the choke. Clear Love gets away. They're forced to leave Mako as he's chopped up, turned into sushi, and a second kill coming in for H2K.
But this also stops the Infernal and gets it to H2K's side because everybody's backing right now on the side of EDG, save for Mouse, who's just running back to lane. So that's a nice Infernal.
But again, if you're going to start the Infernal Drake, don't have your Echo recall. That's a needless risk. You're losing an extra member that doesn't have teleport to get in and help your team. So this is very well done from H2K to capitalize, but that was a mistake they capitalized upon from EDG.
And Mako, yep, no flash available. The equalizer from Odoamne maybe could have been placed better, but it doesn't matter because Lee Sin would have gotten away anyway.
I've also had kick. He might have been able to try and save.
Oh, yeah.
If he wanted.
Yeah. See ya.
Forgiven
Over the wall.
Forgiven again. Call as soon as he can. He'll get back to lane and start charging that one up. Likes his little extra burst of gold once it's full, and usually stays in lane long enough to fight it out and CS it out.
They're looking for a play onto the mid lane here. Mouse is already on his way. Pawn gets the slow.
Voice of Light into the curtain call. Whoa, Mouse coming out of nowhere as well. One more shot. 3:20 on the marker. 26 seconds for Ryu. And there Jankos now tries to get in with the resonating kick, and Pawn will go down to an execution.
Wow. That was really crisp from EDG, funnily enough. Pawn may be the one that tanks the turret. That's the only unfortunate outcome as a result of this. The Jhin from the flank able to slow them down. The ultimate from the Aurelion Sol also to slow, ensuring that Mouse gets the stun, and EDG are turning up the tempo.
It's a very beautiful trident attack from EDG from 3 directions coming on to Ryu. Gets the stun. We're going to watch that one more time.
This is actually so crispy to watch. See, the first blow connects. Ryu
so close.
Gets stunned. There's nothing Ryu could have done in this situation besides just keep running instead of turning to do damage. But he had Jankos nearby. Miscommunications happen.
Mouse was so quick to set that up as well. Remember, he backed for that dragon. Oh, he may go down here. Nice parallel conversion stun.
He might have to back completely. He doesn't have his ultimate anymore.
He pushed that top wave and instantly came for that mid lane gank. EDG was ready to pull the trigger whether minions were there or not. And that's what they need to do against H2K. Now trying their own fight Pawn just uses a quick ability to get out.
Yeah, so this is actually a lot of damage that goes onto that top lane turret. Remember, no turret has been taken, so there is no first brick to be seen just yet. Photo they can get this low enough, Jankos can come up and they can simply just make a pressure play. However, he wants to make another one on the other side of the map.
He could actually just straight up get it here, especially if he ulties the next wave.
Yeah,
I think it's enough.
So top turret's gonna fall. One more shot. He's trying to get the minions cleared, but doesn't want to waste any more time.
That's
and
big.
Turret number 2 is going to go down in favor of bot lanes, H2K.
At 650 gold over to Odoamne since he gets solo turret gold. And he's 1,600, 1,700 gold ahead of Mouse already in the game.
Very scary point on Summoner's Rift for EDG. They've got the Lee Sin that hasn't really gotten a whole lot done just yet. Aurelion Sol's trying his hardest, but there's been a lot of pressure onto him, and Deft and Mako aren't outright winning the lane. The pressure from Caitlyn Karma is too much.
Yeah, they can't deal with it despite having a sustained lane. And it's really interesting as well because Deft, he goes for the crit build on Jhin, low CDR for all of the picks with the Essence Reaver, instead of going for an armor penetration build against a team that's not going to build a lot of armor on almost anybody here, including Jankos, who's been favoring the Righteous Glory over it. But that allows Forgiven to go for a Cull, which then gives him a larger bonus later on in the game and a passable laning phase, despite buying an item that doesn't give him too much in stats.
That's been really curious so far. The necessity almost to go Essence Reaver for Death has been curious. I agree with you, armor penetration could be infinitely more useful. Even just having the Ghost Blade for move speed, get away from the Olaf, maybe dodge an axe from it.
And you talk about EDG's style of having a late game team fight. It's definitely a better late game team fighting build, and it has a lot of CDR in it for constant picks. So he's playing towards the style of his team and the one that he prefers.
Also just playing towards Pawn, it feels like. A lot of their eggs are inside this middle lane basket.
Shows in the composition as well. Everything firing forward down a straight line. Nami ultimate, Pawn flying through with the stun, as well as Deft having curtain call. All of that layered, what becomes crowd control. It's going to be very tough to get out of if H2K finds himself in a long channel. 15 minutes coming up on the clock right now. No more movements here from H2K just yet towards the bottom lane. We've seen Jankos there a few times. He is clearing Krugs. Doesn't have much else to clear, so he may just try to go for a gank, but it's already warded out by a deep EDG ward. They pinged on Jankos.
And you feel like there's a necessity for EDG to actually get things done at this point in the game. They're starting to fall further behind from just the farm values. One of the big strengths H2K has always had. They've always struggled when it hits the middle points of the game, H2K, and that's the opportunity EDG should have, but they've shored up that weakness today, and this is a really tough clenching position.
It's actually really interesting as well because I feel as though the Righteous Glory on the Olaf helps them circumvent some of those problems by just having constant team fights. Speaking of team fights, oh, not enough.
Unleashed power is not enough. He's going to have to back off as well. Ultimate from Jankos. Ghost from Ryu. Flash Ghost from Pawn.
And the teleport from Mouse.
Teleport from Mouse.
That's the big one used there because Mouse, a little bit too, I guess, trigger happy on that one because the fight was not going to happen there.
Yeah, that's actually a lot used. The problem here is that Caitlyn Syndra can just sit in this middle lane now, siege it up. And EDG's only response is either fight or flight, and they ideally want to fight, but they can't because so much was burnt earlier. So eventually you'd feel like H2K can whittle down this turret, chip away at it, and take it out. And that's just another small advantage that they gain playing their own style of League of Legends.
Yeah, Forgiven. He doesn't have max traps just yet. He's level 9 and he only has 3 points in it. Went for 4 into the Peacemaker. Ah, Pawn.
It's a bit awkward.
He finds something he does not want behind door number 1. Voice of Light goes out. He's only got a bit more follow-up damage, but the follow-up death is for sure. H2K picks up another kill, and we're tied at 3-3.
How often do you find a Karma flanking to force you into situations like that? This is a little bit unusual from EDG. They're not setting up for the Drake. They get caught out of position when it's available, which means wards are going to be placed in the area. And that's just caught sleeping once again.
Yeah, and right now, Mouse has to shove out the top side, back, maybe head towards the mid or the Drake. They're going to lose this middle tower as Forgiven starts setting up those traps. Hitting level 10, now he has 4 ranks in it.
And this all happens from a couple of minutes ago. They get rid of the flashing ghost from the Aurelion Sol. They can go and kill him. They can't actually do anything in this middle lane. And Mouse doesn't have the teleport. So you expect the Ocean Drake to be free. and the mid turret to actually get a lot more damage onto it because of what happened about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, especially now because Mouse is topside. He's clearing the wave that was shoved into him. The Ocean Drake should probably go over for free here to H2K, and that's really good for this team composition that wants the siege, keep you underneath your turrets, constantly poke you.
Dragon turret or turret dragon. Looks like they decided dragon first. We saw a pawn going down to the bottom to clear that out. We'll see just how this one played out.
Of course, can't see the Syndra.
Yep.
Suddenly stunned,
Yeah.
realizes he made a big mistake by not going up the river, but he didn't really know which way to go, so it was a 50-50.
Give it your best shot.
It's so hard to play as Aurelion Sol when you've lost your outer turrets, when you've lost your tier 1s, and they're in danger of losing their middle one because he will constantly shove. He wants to keep applying pressure onto the other side of the map, but when you have your turrets down, well, I mean, you don't always get that option. He's trying to pick up some CS and stay in tow with Ryu, but it cost him his life there because he's trying to shove it out.
Definitely, as I think Rusty said earlier in composition, it's kind of a strewn, or kind of a pulled together composition for EDG. Not really everything that can synergize, and when they're apart, it's really easy to take them.
Yeah, it's a little Frankenstein-y.
There's a good word.
A little bit of everything.
My tongue was just tied, couldn't do it. 30K right now, 30.5 to 26.6 for EDG. We did see them fall behind in a similar fashion last game and then explode once Pawn got going.
This is interesting.
We're not seeing that this time.
The Ryu's in a side lane split pushing. They don't have any necessity to be on the top side of the map, even though Baron's close to being available. He can still 1v1 Pawn reasonably successfully. Has the items to still burst him out. And this gives a lot of availability in the middle lane, knowing that Pawn isn't there. That's a big amount of their wave clear gone.
I was gonna say, almost seeing if H2K waited for that turret to make it a dive, but they said, we'll take it down, just needs a few more shots. And there's going to be Baron coming up in 1 minute, so the better we can get our wards forward, the better and easier that's gonna be.
The one thing I like about H2K's playstyle also is that it forces you to make a play, or they will just slowly take everything that you own. You have to try and fight them, and if you don't, eventually you feel pressured into needing to do it. And that's where you start to make those mistakes, and so far, so good for them.
And the other thing on top of that is H2K, sure, they force you to make a play, but it also has to be a play in unison. Because if one person or 3 people want to make a play and the whole team isn't on the same page, something like a Righteous Glory is incredibly punishing against that, because you get those members, you get in contact with them before your team is ready to reinforce. And that's what H2K have been preying on all day today, is the tendency of the enemy team to want to fight, but some of those members are a little bit lagging behind, and H2K take the fight to them first.
Ryu takes blue, also will clear top.
Give him 13.
Yep, nice timing on the waves. Shouldn't lose too many on that. Actually gets the first one and loses number 2.
This is a pretty good time in the game, honestly, for EDG, albeit at a deficit to try and find a pick or a fight. Nice items across the board, GLP as well. Good example of how the Aurelion Sol can contribute to bursting somebody.
Seems like they are just kind of getting to moving those pink wards forward a little bit. You see one in mid, just up top side there. The most of them are still in their own jungle, kind of telling of how the early game went for this. EDG is saying H2K needs to stay out. We need to stop the snowball they have. So we'll ward up, and then we'll take the fight they want us to take. Mid lane has the numbers. I don't know if EDG is going to be the first one to pull the trigger, though. You have Ryu coming down. Vision's there to keep him safe, as Death to the rest go down back to the bottom, maybe to find out.
Mouse is getting obliterated right now. He's going to have to ulti.
Ooh.
Yes, now.
Pulls back. Almost even here, but I don't know if he can stand toe-to-toe with Odo Omne still. He's waiting for Clear Love. Going to have to be a pretty good dodge on this one, but flashes it out. Clear Love still happy with that.
Have we seen this from EDG? Clear Love gets a little bit hypey and has to go towards bottom, and look what happens when you go to the other side of the map.
Yeah, they try to make a topside play and answer with a cross-map play. Of course, they don't actually get a pick. The flash comes out from Mako, and it looks like Pawn also blows summoners too.
But the thing is, they can make this play again and again. They know that Clear Love's bottom. They already had vision on the Baron. This is why you can't go bottom at that time. Or it coincides with H2K getting either a free pick or a Baron.
Clear Love, he can get safeguard, gets himself out. Ragnarok is used as well. H2K going pretty hard on this with just a small stun. Couldn't lay on any more crowd control there. Both goes for Jankos and Ryu. That means that Ryu may be a target next fight.
The window has closed for all of the Baron baiting. They
Yeah.
can still utilize Ryu, as you're seeing, to try and make picks, but Mako's been able to recall, reassess, and replace the wards that have been taken from H2K.
And H2K says no. Thank you
cannot
for the
have
new
that.
wards. Instantly heading in, double teaming, making sure they get as many as possible. There you go. There's your prize. Pink on pink. Get a little bit more gold back. Looks like it's going to be the bushwhack for H2K. They may actually find Mako coming up here. Oh, clear love with the Sixth Sense. Able to just throw out a Sonic Wave, keeping his team safe.
I was looking at item builds. It's actually quite interesting because Forgiven goes for a Kerchies shard instead of going for the crit cloak for himself to go towards an Infinity Edge or something like that. And this is just instant gratification in terms of damage and great sieging potential as well. So he's looking for instant power spike, trying to catch somebody out, help with the Cinder damage, blow them up. But it does delay him on his next item if it is that Infinity Edge.
I'm just curious. It's like going Hextech Revolver first instead of the other part of the GLP build. A Catalyst also infinitely handy, but you want to auto attack for 75 extra damage. Could be surprising when you do that with Thunderlords.
Yeah, it's like, I need it now. I need that now to help myself.
The problem here is that H2K actually keep baiting that they're going to do the Baron. They're never actually doing it. That's why the Sixth Sense is a lot easier to replicate here from Clear Lovers. Drake is kicked off.
The Scrying Orb left up, just got hit by Yankos. They're going to get vision here as the team moves in. Kirk Call slows things down. They're on to Vander to start off.
Ryu
here.
in the
Chrono
pit.
break back from Mouse. Ryu's flash is up. He could be safe. He should just try to fight as much as he can and then get out. EDG still going to chase, though. Yankos, very possible kill, but Odo Omne comes in, and he is going to stop that one right in his tracks. Equalizer's still up, choosing if they want to use it.
There is some ridiculous damage coming out of Odo Omne. They could have actually turned around, maybe looked for the fight, but opting to not do it, given they took the Drake, the objective will do slow, calm play from this.
We haven't looked up to that top lane lately. 229 to
he doesn't have flash.
184, and it looks like they want to take that one kill away from him. He won't throw down the Equalizer. Parallel Convergence takes him down, adds stun, and then it's going to be the kill for On.
Yeah, not a very good placement on that ultimate from Odo Omne. And then he overheats as well, so no possibility of getting out of that, shielding or slowing or anything along those lines, but it's a good pickup from EDG.
And the thing is, they do this when there is no Baron as a threat. So H2K being on the bottom side of the map, they obviously want to go for the Drake. This actually gives a way in for EDG to try and find these fights. And problem number one, they probably should have just dropped the Equalizer here and tried to work around Ryu before he had to flash over.
Yeah, Ryu also, he actually got cut off from going out to the right of the pit. You ask, why did he go in? Well, it's because to the right of the pit, Mouse had his W coming in, the Parallel Convergence, and that's what ended up stunning Vander and catching him. So if Ryu went off to the right side, he would have had to flash then, or he would have been just stunned and probably killed.
3 Drakes now for H2K. 2 Oceans, 1 Infernal. We'll see if they continue to have the confidence as before. There goes Vander right back into the jungle to put some wards down. Be very careful as he's by himself, walking over a captive audience. Looks like Mako's going to have eyes on that ward as well.
And this is actually a really interesting point in the game because H2K haven't taken over the game enough so that they're scot-free. Right. And so H2K, in order to make it to the first seed, they have to actually conquer some of their demons. What's been actually looming over their entire season of Baron baits, doing them appropriately, closing out, getting tier 2 turrets. Even with a siege composition, it has been difficult for them, so they have to play it right if they want that number 1.
They have gotten it together a little bit more today in that respect, but this is still EDG who just won a late game fight. They have momentum in that respect, and you can tell they're comfortable just going back to that point. When you hit late game, Lee Sin only needs 1 kick. If he's the focal point, maybe he gets a Guardian Angel towards the end or is a super tank.
Right.
Aurelion Sol will be the one killing everybody after that. They can still team fight. They're comfortable being there. H2K have to actually meet them and say that they can do this.
This is actually really cool from Ryu. Because he has 2 Ocean Drakes, you can just keep throwing balls in that bush forever. He's always just going to regen that. So he's never never actually punished for doing that.
And they'll look for Pawn because he's the one collecting all of the sideways farm.
Very big here. Whew.
He was pinged.
Great.
Careful.
Great choice.
They were immediately like, remember last time you walked the wrong way? But I don't know if it'll matter here, because if he can still land a stun on him, he's holding the ball.
He knows that there's somebody nearby, but he doesn't want the cannon. And I'm surprised he didn't go for the cannon. Everyone goes for the cannon.
Very calm.
Oh, they even pinged him too.
Knows what's going on. If you think somebody's in the bush, somebody is in the bush. Don't go. That's the mentality he's playing with. He's also pinging around. They're saying, wait, I'm going to try to clear this. Make sure you got eyes on me if we have an extended fight. But luckily, H2K has backed off from that position. Pawn waited just enough time.
Yeah, he's quite large going towards the Rylas Crystal Scepter. Once that is there, you'd have to think EDG are capable of team fighting. We already saw how much damage Def did in the middle lane when he hit Forgiven with the crit. He's only going to get stronger. This is getting close, mounting to that point where both teams will be comfortable team fighting.
And that's the thing as well, is you have to be comfortable team fighting if you're H2K as well. Because I talked about how they need to siege to end the game. In some people's minds, you can perfect siege every single time, and then you'll never be engaged on, and there'll never be a team fight, right? Well, some people, some games, and against some teams, you have to take the risk. Because if you siege, they will try to fight you. You can't be like, okay, we only siege when they can't fight us. That never happens.
Welcome to the LPL.
I know. The LPL will fight you. They will fight you every time.
Well, we'll see if it stays true here.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. It's very paralyzing. It's very paralyzing for more calculated teams, for teams that are constantly saying like, okay, we'll run them around their map, we'll set up here, and then they'll be a little bit late to coming in. It's like, if they want to catch that minion wave. LPL is like, well, screw the minion wave, let's go for the fight.
I know it's like a buzzword to say it creates chaos, but think of it like tennis where you force an error.
Yes.
Same thing applies. You make mistakes from H2K by suddenly being somewhere they don't expect, and they just freak out, press their Olaf ult.
H2K has had the red brush with their name on it. Haven't been able to get any engages out of it, though. They haven't been very, very close, but I think EDG's very well aware that they're going to be in each brush. They don't have warded.
And that's very high feed from Yankos. He had no right actually engaging there, no team backing him, so that's the ultimate burn, and that is actually a big deal because they can keep him away from death for the moment. So this is a time of respite, once again, for EDG, where they can sit back, farm, get those big items, and try one more time.
Just going after every attack that they can. As soon as they saw Clear Love there, they wanted another stun. Now going for a target. That should be enough. Unleash power on the Mako. He didn't kill him. Oh, tidal wave goes back. Ryu gets one more auto attack out, but the fight will continue. Curtain calls a little off the distance. Good shield from Vander. Pawn going up. Odo coming in. Gonna toast him down. And it looks like Riankos is now coming through with the Ghost on, trying to get where he can, and it looks like Deft will go down on this one. Captive audience keeps him alive. Vander goes over the wall. Deft dodging everything he can. Odo now getting turned down by Mouse. He may be able to clean up that kill. Deft now 3v1, looking for Odo as he comes out of the Zanyas. Cannot get the pop down with the scrap shield on, and a double kill for Odo Omne.
Massive from H2K is all you can really say. They go and they make it work incredibly well.
Clean ace, except for Ryu going down because he tried to get that pick at the start. He tries to open up on Mako. He gets exhausted, so he has to spend more time, more resources right there. You'd be like, oh, I could get away, but has to get in there. Clearlove kicks him back, and the TP flank from Odo, they don't respect that. Pawn gets hit by it. Yankos is on him, and he has to get out of there, but he's being chased down by this Rumble that is perfectly overheated there.
And there is just so much used by EDG to secure Ryu at all, and he was massively out of position. So Def not being there, just using his ultimate is ultimately the downfall of this fight.
And Odo Omne just does so much damage there. Punches Clearlove in the face, has the Flame Spitter going. Def tries to turn it around to get something back.
Wow. Mouse's parallel convergence there was pretty spot on, seeing that could have been a flash over that wall.
And that ace popping up behind Forgiven. Let's go. Baron onto H2K. During that replay, they took it up 8,000 gold.
That was the question. Can they bait it? Is it going to be their death if they do? This time, they don't have to. It's not the scenario. H2K is able to pick it up. 30 minutes on the clock now. They're also going to head to the bottom to pick up third Ocean Drake of the game.
And that's pretty absurd. 3 Ocean Drake means their sustain is through the roof, honestly. They're set up for success at this stage. H2K with all of the tools that they need to actually push towards the base of EDG and start trying to break it.
It is pretty insane. The #1 seed from the LPL. It's H2K coming out #2. They didn't make the finals of the summer split for Europe. There are a lot of questions about this squad, but they're getting it together. Their lane phase has been carrying them to those mid games, and they've had time and time again to shore up that weakness. And it's looking like their team fighting is getting that much better every game of this tournament.
That is what teams have to look at, is the laning phase for H2K. Every time coming out on top, Odo Omne, 301 to 250 in that CS as well.
Oh yeah, every lane has an advantage right now in terms of CS for H2K, and it's Forgiven versus Deft. And Forgiven, they draft a winning lane for him. They draft this combo that was even banned against them earlier today to try and deny the Caitlyn.
It must feel good to be able to get Caitlyn as well, seeing it banned so many times. Forgiven wants to make a mark on Worlds. He gets a champion he can do so with. Coming into our 7th game of the day.
I mean, what would it do for his legacy to get out #1 seed?
He said he could do it. Said he's felt like the top AD carry for the past 3 seasons, more than that, possibly. And now he gets the chance to show at level 16. Final ultimate there. This could be that ace in the hole, then to scout of the week, and maybe those catches they've been looking for.
And Forgiven, he said he's been the best AD carry for a long time now. And EDG said their motto is speak with results. Forgiven, this may be the day that he has spoken and he's getting the results that he has talked about.
That's absolutely right. EDG definitely on the back foot. The gold is outrageous. And it feels like they are playing more desperately. You can see the movements of them. Horn using his E4 all the time.
This
clear.
Oh!
Nope. They love going low. Remember, there's 2 Guardian Angels on the side of EDG. H2K has to choose correctly in these fights. It's going to be very extended.
This is dangerous. Rumble can win the game with a single equalizer at this point, and they are pressuring this bottom lane turret.
And this is exactly what this composition is built to do. Traps across the entrance to the base. And then the Syndra looking for picks, looking for the setup, and then the Rumble can always help engage or counter engage.
Backing off to get a little breathing room here for H2K, but also for EDG as H2K steals the resources up in the jungle and starts setting up an entire line of vision.
And this is the thing, it's been a slow push in that bottom lane. They do have a minion wave stacking up top. They did have mid working now, but it's taken them too long to actually get to this point. So the Baron buff's running out. There's nothing really left for them in the way of sieging as effectively. They're actually relying on a good Syndra stun to be followed up by potentially a dive. And now that there are Guardian Angels being purchased by all of EDG, they're actually very much prepared for that and will meet you if you dive them.
Randuin's finished quite a bit ago there for Clear Love as he knows he's jumping right into the fights, throws himself Arsal the Chain Vest and Negatron Cloak.
This is that point in the game where one Lee Sin kick can actually determine the outcome of the game if he hits the right target.
He's not even worried about that pink ward slot. He wants to fight. More fight stats. More fight with pink wards. 4 Dragons to H2K. Elder could be absolutely gigantic for them if it's something they can pressure. Mostly be that bait for EDG to pull them out of their base.
I feel as though if the Elder comes up, it's already been a long enough time that EDG are rather close to catching up in items. We're hitting those points where people are getting to that 6th slot, where if you look at the build from both Deft and Forgiven, as soon as Deft has that final item starting to come into the works, like he has 1 more to build, but then Forgiven's sitting on a piece until he has a large chunk of gold to complete.
I agree, but this is also a really good opportunity. If EDG walk towards H2K, they're actually walking into an equalizer, into Caitlyn traps and Syndra stun. That is a domain that you do not wish to enter willingly. So the Elder Dragon's a good place. The Baron's also a good opportunity for H2K to start with control, place the traps, and actually just start the Baron this time instead of baiting it 6 times over.
Yeah, you have to start it. You have to go after it. Clear Love, maybe he steals, but right now EDG being down 11k gold. Now it's desperation. Now you're going to be giving up the Elder Dragon or the Baron, possibly both, and then you might have to roll over. But EDG, they love to take fights, but with 11k deficit, could be there and do
tough. Jankos as well, nearing 3,700 HP. It's about 700 more than Mouse's. It's going to take a lot to bring down the Viking in this matchup. His build has made him pretty beefy. EDG sitting back. Like we said, it's all about waiting for errors now, but it would be more impressive, obviously, to somebody find that and put the engage in.
And EDG already have 3 Guardian Angels, so if they do make an error, they have time to actually reinforce. They have a lot of effective health and a lot of time on this map. So H2K would have to deal with that as well, having no Guardian Angels themselves.
Yeah, the 11k that it was, now about 12, is actually not that big of a gold. Like, it doesn't actually I know it looks large, but it doesn't feel like that if you're EDG, because they spike with GAs. They do live more than once. They can team fight more consistently, and that is what their team comp actually wants to do. They want to be consistently hurting you with the Aurelion Sol Engine and just whittle you down.
Oh, Odoamne caught out. He already has his splashdown.
The wards have been set up by EDG for the past 5-6 minutes. Odo walks over one, 60 seconds on the death clock. He used everything to try and get out, and we just had H2K engaging on the top side, so they are now very on the back foot.
And Odoamne even used his equalizer there, so if he has to TP into the next fight, maybe it's not up by then. It'll be about 10 seconds off of his death timer.
I just don't know if EDG can actually do anything. Their health values are far too low. The Caitlyn could run away with the entire game if they look for a fight here.
Oh,
Big
what?
Boss, that's his Guardian Angel.
Perfect bait needs to happen here.
When he comes back up, if he gets ulted by Syndra.
Scrying Orb in. She had the balls on the ground but did not unleash, and it looks like they will have to back off on this one. Good focus by Ryu to make sure he got a priority target.
I mean, 2 summoner spells available for Ryu. That was a lot of respect for no particular reason.
Mouse just playing a game of just that, cat and mouse, as he goes in and out with the chrono break. He's out of mana though, so forced to go back now as EDG push their limits a little bit to show H2K they're not afraid.
That's a win for EDG though, or sorry, for H2K, because they delay until Odoamne is back up. Teleport comes through. Doesn't have the equalizer just yet.
This is going to be Clear Love's up 50-50 with Baron at 27. Clear Love steals the Baron, and he safeguards out. There's no chase from H2K, and smiles across the face of EDG as they pull themselves even closer back in this game.
Say thank you to your captain, EDG, because he keeps you in this game for another couple of minutes. Lee Sin with the execute. Massive play from a big-time player.
They went for the 50-50. H2K don't even need to hang around the Baron buff at all with the gold advantage they have. They could continue to siege up. They could do anything but that, and it would be better.
We were talking about it before. A bit of history repeats itself for H2K at the Baron objective. Whether it's the time to go, whether it's the time to wait, and EDG was ready for that time to go.
Yeah, absolutely right. And now I'm not going to say last-ditch effort, but next step when EDG have Baron is to actually bait at the Elder, stop them from pushing waves, stop them from resetting the map, and force them to be somewhere that doesn't involve minions, so the Baron buff isn't as effective. But, Zareen, we see this again.
Where are we at here?
Yep, Ryu. He's the only one who could really stop anything with a Scatter of the Week. But, oh, so close.
Simultaneous smites as well. Oh, hey.
Uses
back
the chrono break to get back. Yep. 4 seconds to do it.
Yeah, wanted to stay on the map near the Elder Dragon. That was more important to him.
But considering all of the outer turrets except bottom are standing, EDG have decided to attack the innermost area of H2K.
Wow. Yeah, they're just pushing this up. Giant minion wave for themselves. A lot of damage on this turret, and EDG start getting some back after that Baron steal. Clear Love put him back in the game.
Now it's entirely flipped. We saw H2K on this side, other side of the map, putting wards across, pushing back. Equalizer comes out of nowhere from Odoamne. That wasn't even a TP in, but it is up, and they do need to fight. Mouse is going to be the next one in the eyes of H2K. Ryu wants to get forward and stop the rest of them, layering the crowd control, and then the follow-up. Double kill for Jankos. Chrono break for Mouse on the other side, but he's just watching his team go down at this point as he cannot get there to help. Will H2K turn on Elder Drake as they have already taunted it, but the chase is still there from Vander. He could be in trouble if Mouse makes it over the wall with a phase dive.
Well, he's trying to stop Clear Love, so Clear Love can't go for another steal, so they secure it for themselves. Elder Dragon.
He's still in trouble. Clear Love's still completely done.
Vander doing what he can. He's saying, guys, I found it. Ali Oxen free. H2K is running it now. Clear Love, no Guardian Angel up this time. And Vander picks up the chase kill.
Against a Baron buffed up EDG, they still get the fight. They get the Elder Dragon for themselves and all of the momentum in this game again.
It was the perfect timing by H2K to start that off because Pawn had backed. Pawn was in the base, and they pulled the trigger. They blew everything to try and get into that fight, and it worked out. Now they have that Elder Dragon. They can start pushing down inhibitors and cracking the base.
It looked like EDG was about to do this to H2K's base just a few minutes ago. This game is so back and forth on a knife's edge, and EDG with an inhibitor down, still in it. Let's take a look at
Right
this
there.
fight.
Baron backed from Pawn. Pawn is running out of the base. That's when Jankos pulls the trigger. Odoamne throws down the equalizer for the slow, and then the Righteous Glory comes out on top of it, so Mako goes down incredibly quickly.
Rio even flashing aggressively here to ensure that Deft dies. Good stun, making sure he places 2 orbs and that he will be locked down. So even through the Maw of Malmortia smacks him. Good plays across the board from H2K. A big Rumble ultimate and undertow to make sure they were super slowed.
Yeah, it was that small window too where Pawn wasn't there and they took advantage of it, because if they wait 1, 2, even 3 seconds later, Pawn, you saw, was almost at that fight. He was right on the edge of Whistle Light, could possibly change that chase.
Super minions to deal with. They tried to do that early in the mid lane. So there's no more pressure of minions down mid. 4 Drakes to that Elder Drake right now, and 3 of them being Ocean. H2K can hang out for quite a while in these attacks. Right now, it's just been Jankos going off. Previously in the last game, Jankos was counter-jungled so hard in the early game, but he has been keeping his head throughout all these plays time and time again and really coming up big for the team. 3-1 and 3 now, and a big facilitator with that Righteous Glory the team can follow.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now Mouse on the opposite side of the map, looking to control the one wave that they actually have for themselves. But this is all about Odoamne on the top side. The equalizer can kill everybody from EDG. And they're playing the vision game. There's no Baron to look towards, so it is actually telegraphed from where the European side will be.
And just the chunk out there. Now Forgiven needs to set up the traps. He's going to go with the diagonal angle so that they have to be on the bottom right side. And then H2K can siege from the top left. Keep your Caitlyn up against that top wall, and you'll get it. Here comes Mouse. Not quite a flank ward, but it's on the side. But here comes Clearlove, looking for a side flank.
Yeah.
And swept it.
This is so risky from EDG though, because H2K can collapse on them or the turret and just force it to be done now.
Oh, they're going after Deft!
Jankos is trying to figure out if there are people behind him, which means nobody can get in past Jankos. Now they're trailing him. Deft already down. That's a lot of the damage that EDG can provide. One more Harpoon just missing from Odoamne onto Pawn. That would have been his Guardian Angel. But now H2K on the Nexus turrets. They do have to be wary of the damage that can still be put out here. Clearlove can make something happen, but no. They swarm the members of EDG. Odoamne trying to focus Clearlove in the back so he can't disrupt the fight. Mouse onto Forgiven, but he pulls back on the chrono break, and Forgiven's open to fire away on Caitlyn. They have the targets they need in their eyes. Pawn doing damage with the stars as he falls through above, and Forgiven's coming up huge. Those are 2 kills from Pawn. He's gonna push Mako back.
That was monstrous.
He spawns into it. Forgiven's the last one left. Mako's there to do what he can, but it's so mismatched, it probably won't be it. Forgiven alive, the triple kill for Forgiven, and it looks like H2K will seal the deal. Your first seed from Group C going to the quarterfinals.
How's that for your legacy? Ends the game, the first seed.
I feel like he did that ult on purpose as well. That was incredible.
That was so good. That was so good. Channeling the ultimate in front of a Guardian Angel person onto somebody behind them. So smooth.
How many chances do you get to do that? That timing that's incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Icing on the cake. They didn't even hesitate. They said, this is the chance. Do not let EDG back in. Those Nexus turrets are ours, and so is the Nexus.
You have to feel bad for whoever gets EDG as a second seed in the quarterfinals.
EDG are definitely going to be upset with that result. But H2K came into this. Some people even had them third, not making it out. And Europe has been suffering as a whole with seeing G2 not perform well. Splice 0-3, and H2K started the day 1-2. It was against almost all odds that they come up this high and get the #1 seed. It took some upsets, but they were the ones who were in control of their destiny. 3-0, 4-0 on the day for Europe.
Look at those smiles. The lift of an immense amount of pressure from the shoulders of H2K now can refocus and see what's ahead of them. They had to plan for almost every match today, and then another one with a subbed-in Pawn.
Yeah,
things changed, and they adapted beautifully.
Hard to say which H2K will show up. They're often an inconsistent team, but this was the best of H2K.